Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zach, and today we're looking at the ECOMI price and VeVe stuff as per usual. Currently the price is 0.003383 on a low of 0.002957 and a high of 0.003868 over the past 24 hours. Now, very recently, ECOMI tweeted out, or VeVe tweeted out, about R and CPMK, the firm that they are working with. Executives join pop culture icon and NFT creator Kevin Smith to discuss what is an NFT and the potential value for brands. Senior leaders from R and CPMK and sister agency Octagon discuss how brands can leverage new digital currency and engage with consumers. Now, there's a whole sort of bunch of Q&A stuff here, but the actual video where he's talking about what he's up to essentially is here. So we're just gonna go ahead and get right into this.
With all of that, we've got a lot to cover. Let's go ahead.
So we have special guest Kevin Smith here. Then we have Dan Crothers, CEO and of course co-founder. Then we have President Film, Content and Marketing, R and CPMK, and the head of Digital Octagon.
Jump in. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'd love to hear from your perspective as someone who's pioneering a lot in the NFT space. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
First off, I glanced a little bit at somebody's got their thing not on mute. There we go. I glanced a little bit at being called an expert. I've done it once. We've had one drop with Jay and Silent Bob's Crypto Studio. So I definitely have experience, but expert, not at all. We got other experts that you'll be able to hear from later on. Kids, in order to understand why I'm in the NFT marketplace, I'd have to take it back to 1995. We had made a film the year before called Clerks in 1994. In 1995, we released Mallrats, which now people love, but when it came out, was an absolute bomb. A $5 million movie that grossed $2 million, and the reviews were horrendous. As great as the Clerks reviews were, the fucking Mallrats reviews were in the toilet. So at the tail end of that, when the movie came and went in like 2 days. Like I remember Jim Jackson was the producer. He called on Saturday night, that morning. That was the only time you can get the grosses, the only way you could get them back in the day. And he's like, I got the grosses. I said, what did we make? And he's like, we made $400,000. I said, on what screen? He was like, that was all 500. I was like, what happens now? He goes, nothing, it's over. So I was like licking my wounds because, our first film was overpraised. Our second film was just like destroyed. And so like into that, somebody said, if you feel bad, you should go on the internet and look at all the clerk shrines. And I was like, what the fuck is the internet? And so they had opened an internet cafe in Red Bank, New Jersey.
It's interesting how many industry people are, and I'm seeing the similar thing myself, but I don't understand it as well as a lot of these people. It's interesting how some industry people, so many are likening this to, internet, web 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. I mean, I have web 3.0 on my Twitter now because I'm just fascinated by it, but it's really interesting to see how large of a shift people are likening this to, or as is.
My hometown, well, not my hometown, town I was born in. And I went there and I paid a dude like $5. He set me up with a big ass, TV terminal as big as a TV from the 70s and stuff, big monitor. And I said, how do I get to like Clerks? And he went to the most primitive fucking browser of all time and entered Clerks. And it brought me to this website made by this kid in Michigan going to school, Ming Chen, who would later go on to be one of the stars of our show, Comic Book Men. Ming was just a fan, and he built this like Clerks website, and I had never seen a website before because it was 1995, and I had no language for it. I was like, this looks like a magazine on a television. I don't know how to explain it and stuff. So I reached out to that dude, Ming Chen. I was like, can you build me one of these websites, whatever it's called? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. So we built the ViewSkew website, and that built this little fan community. Like at the end of it, Ming was like, is there anything else you want to put on the website? There were clips and of the movie, sound clips, movie clips, tiny MPEGs because it was 95, images, a lot of text that I provided and whatnot. I said, would it be possible to do like a weekly Q&A with people? And he said, no, they don't have that sort of technology where you could be on a camera. He's going, but they have a whiteboard. I can give you a whiteboard. I said, what's that? It's a message board. People can write to you at any time of day and you can answer them whenever you want. And I was like, oh my God, I'll never be alone again. How wonderful. So they put up the ViewSQ message board at viewsq.com, and I started living there. And there were two filmmakers who lived on the internet back in 1995. Only two, because in 1995, kids, you could literally make this statement like, somebody's like, have you been to the internet? You'd be like, yeah, I did the whole thing. I did the whole internet once in 95, hit every site and was like, well, what's next? You could never fucking do that today.
That's crazy. As someone who's in their early 20s, it's just, yeah, it's something else.
So
but this is what I'm trying to understand, because like, this is why I feel like a lot of the stuff I've missed out on as far as, you know, having this experiences and stuff. But yeah, it's fascinating.
You know, the people came because there were two filmmakers, me and Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson loved talking to the fan base as well as I did. Peter Jackson got smart one day. I was like, fuck this, I'm going to win some Oscars. And he left the internet. I've still been mired in the internet ever since, because once again, I would never be alone again. I get to talk to people that bought tickets to my stuff, find out like what they thought, why they bought it. I was never interested in what the critics thought as much as I was interested in like this kid in like Pacoima who spent like $5 to go see Clerks on a Friday night. Who are you? I want to know you. So because of that website, people started coming and I'd hang out and answer questions and shit like that. We built this little community. And one day somebody said something, wrote something rather, changed my life. They wrote, what are you selling here? And I was like, I mean, I guess we're selling the idea of these movies, or me as a filmmaker. You know, I don't, what do you mean? And they were like, no, do you have any merchandise? And I was like, what kind of merchandise? Like t-shirts, posters, whatever. It had never occurred to me to totemize anything that I had been making. You know, we didn't make Clerks going like, this will be a great action figure one day. Like, you know, I just wanted to make a movie. But I was raised in the 70s, and as a big Star Wars fan, like I knew shit, the sweetest plum George Lucas ever plucked was the merchandising, never mind the movie itself and stuff. Like he got rich off action figures, off tchotchkes.
Sure.
So when this kid was like, hey man, what are you selling? I said, well, we got a closet full of Mallrats posters, 200 of them. Like they're not going anywhere because the movie died. I said, I guess I could tag them and put them up for sale. And we did. And that's how we started selling things. That's how I became like a salesperson. You know, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a podcaster, I do a lot of things, but first and foremost, probably I'm a salesperson. And I
love all of that. And I love that you started at this point of, I've created a movie and really an amazing movie. A lot of people on the chat said they were part of that first $400,000. Multiple people said that. So, you know, and I think what the story you're telling is about, there was a community there, and the community wanted more. And I think that's really fascinating as we talk about NFTs.
That's not the story, Michael. The story is I didn't jump into NFTs because I'm like, ooh, there's a way to make money here. I jumped into NFTs because I got a mercantile instinct. If you look behind me, there's a bunch of tchotchkes, the crap we've been selling for years. Here's me as a pop. Here's Quick Stop Coffee. Here's a Kevin Smith candle, for heaven's sake. So for the better part of 25 years, I've been selling things. I've had a brick and mortar establishment, the Jane Silent Bob Secret Stash, our comic book store. We've been selling things, totems from our movies, souvenirs, tchotchkes, for the better part of a quarter of a century at this point. So when I got introduced to the notion of NFTs, first place I saw it was on Twitter. I saw an image of what's his name, Tesla Man. He was smoking a joint on Joe Rogan's show. Somebody had done this 3D sculpture of him, and I was like, "That's pretty fascinating. What is that?" And it said NFT, and I kind of read down the thread. And once I saw it say cryptocurrency, I lost interest because I'm not into financial shit. I do like making money. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a communist, but it's not about the money. It's about the funny. You know, it's about like how enjoyable this is. That's why at the end of this discussion of NFTs that we're going to have, you probably might be like, oh, because I'll give you a real figure of what people make. Never mind the Beeples. Never mind like the $600,000 for the toaster cat. I'm somebody who opened a crypto studio, so I can tell you the reality. We'll get to that in a minute because like a good storyteller, I'm going to pull the taffy and make you fucking wait. So in any event, I know what an NFT is, barely, but I'm not interested because cryptocurrency is beyond me. I don't play the stock market. Jason Mewes and his wife, Jordan Monsanto, who runs our company, they gave me a tiny piece of a Bitcoin for Christmas. I said, oh, this is nice. And then never looked at it again because it's just not in my DNA. But my friend David Shapiro, with whom I'd made this movie Kilroy, was here. He reached out to me one day and he was like, "Hey man, do you know what an NFT is?" And I was like, "Yes, I saw one on Twitter. Very interesting. It's like a digital baseball card or something like that." And he was like, "Yeah." He's going, "I'm getting into it in a big bad way. I'm deeply involved with this company, Phantasma Chain." And he's going, "You know, our movie, to build awareness for Kilroy, would you mind if I made a Kilroy NFT that was just kind of, we could sell multiple copies of?" I said, what do you mean? Like, can you explain exactly what this is?" And David kind of broke it down thusly. He's like, "It's art as currency." And that clicked with me. I was like, "Oh, that's my world, man." I said, commerce and uh, sentimentality is kind of like how I make my living. People like, "Oh, I liked a thing once. Oh, I'm going to put some money into it so I can have that feeling again," and stuff. That's what buying souvenirs is kind of about. So I got it. And he was just like, the thing that really clicked with me is he said online gallery. Now you got to understand, I'm a person who loves to see graven images of himself from when he was younger. Every time people draw Jay and Silent Bob, they don't draw old Silent Bob, the elvish years. They draw the young Silent Bob, right? So I'm in the entertainment business. Why? Because I want money? No, because there's some gaping fucking wound in me that I must fill with like appreciation from people I'll never meet, right? So the idea of somebody drawing me, oh fuck, that validates my whole existence. So I've loved that for years, man, and always encouraged that and stuff. So at our new Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash, the one we just opened in Red Bank, we want bigger. We're going to start doing art gallery shows because there's so much wonderful fan art in the world where we could showcase it and whatnot. Suddenly, David says this to me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, my gallery doesn't even have to be in Red Bank, New Jersey. It could just be online if we opened up like a Jay and Silent Bob's crypto studio." So I said to David, he was pushing like Kilroy NFT. I said, "David, I'm all for it, but barely anybody knows what Kilroy is yet." He's like, "That's why we want to do it, to build awareness, at least in the crypto community." I said, "What if we threw a Jay and Silent Bob thing out there? They're a little more well known." And David was like, "I would never dare to have dreamed to ask, but if you want to do that." I was like, "Oh my God, this is like what I do all the time. This is just basically a digital extension of what we do in the real world." And my kid, Harley, she's dating this kid, Austin, and Austin's a cryptocurrency fiend. I found that out because my kid was shooting a TV show in Dallas, the Cruel Summer that's on right now. And I was FaceTiming with her, and she said Austin was on the treadmill. I said, "What's he doing? What can I hear in the background?" She said, "He's watching all these YouTube videos on crypto. He's a huge crypto fan, but he wants to talk to you about something." And I was like, "Oh, bring me over to him." She brought me over to him, and he goes, "Hey man, I want to talk to you about something." I said, "Is it NFTs?" And he goes, "How the fuck did you know that?" I was like, "It's just in the air, my friend. Somebody else called me about it. We're doing it. We're jumping into the field." And I even said to Austin, because he's younger, but he's way deep into crypto, I was like, "You got to explain to me like why this matters to people and stuff." And he goes, "Well, think about this." He's going, "Imagine if I bought a sword and I hung it on my wall, in my room just for decor. And anybody comes in and sees it and they're like, oh, that's cool, but that's it. Maybe I put a picture up on Instagram, but its value ends right there in my room." He's going, "But if I own this sword in the cryptoverse, in the metaverse," he's going, "not only do I have something I could show off where I spend most of my time," and that really struck me. I'm like, I spend a lot of time online as well. Everything I show off is online more so than in the real world. And he goes, "That sword in the metaverse, like not only can I show it off, it could also be useful. I could use it in a game. I can upsell it and trade it to somebody else for something else, make money off it." He's like, "So you understand, like the kids don't care about real world as much anymore as they do the metaverse because that's where we spend all of our time." And I was like, this absolutely makes sense to me. So I called David back and I was like,
Sounds kind of similar to something that VeVe's got going on.
let's dive in 100%, man. I think I know what we could do here. We got some artwork. We can make these smoking tokens, because they're called NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So we can make smoking tokens. And then those tokens, like one day, 4 or 5 drops later, we can open up Jay and Silent Bob's blockchain boardwalk, where those tokens will actually be used to get you into rooms for games or live shows or something like that. Then we can, more importantly, that'll be the thing that centers the drop, makes people come, the smoking tokens. Then we could showcase artists that we love and make deals with them where it's like, look, we got the IP, you got the talent, man. You draw Jay and Silent Bob or any of our Smodco characters, we will turn it into an NFT, and then we'll split the cash, sell it at the gallery and stuff.
Let me say, I love all of that. I love how it's not just, oh, let's put something as an NFT, that it's very much, it sounds very fan driven. What are they looking for? And really how you can build off of that. And also that you're kind of coming up with a new way to reach people in the market, as far as, bringing collectibles together, helping artists reach new people. Do you see this as something that is a whole new business model to help reach fans? Is this something that you think long term will shift an entire industry as well?
No, it's just one more place to go. This is basically YouTube at the beginning. That's why I jumped in, man. I was like, oh my God. I asked David, I was like, can we put an entire movie on an NFT? Because we were talking about this Kilroy thing. And I was like, David, after this preview NFT, I was like, has anybody ever put a movie on an NFT? Has anybody ever sold a movie in crypto yet? And he goes, well, you couldn't fit an entire movie onto a single NFT. It would just burn so much energy at this point. He's going, but I see where you're going with this. I was like, what if we took Kilroy, this movie that him and I made together? It was like under $1 million little horror anthology that we made with the kids at the Ringling College of Art and Design. I said, what if we took our movie, instead of like taking it out and just selling it or try to like shop it around, go to Shutter or whatever, what if we just took it like to crypto and sold it in the world of crypto as an NFT? So basically, we create a gorgeous Kilroy NFT that has like clips from the movie in it and stuff, looks like a golden ticket. And whoever wins that NFT, of course, has the valuable NFT. But in the real world, because a lot of NFT sales do this, man, people will sell like digital trading cards and then make real trading cards that you get later on in the real world, because some people still enjoy holding something
Yeah, I
tactile.
believe VeVe's just done this, haven't they? I think with the most recent, I forgot what it's called, propaganda. I think some people will be actually receiving a physical propaganda thing too.
So I said, in a world where people do that, what if our real world bonus was the movie? The idea of like, here, the movie's yours, man. We'll help you. We'll hold your hand. We'll talk you through deals. We'll bring you in and open our Rolodex. But this is what you get. You get the NFT in the world.
And this is also what I've been talking about regarding utility, right? So he's not just looking at building a shiny collectible, which looks awesome, but realistically, the real world utility is something that's fungible, I guess. And we've been talking about this with Disney NFTs. Again, I keep going over this example because it's just easier to help to go through. Having a Disney NFT, getting yourself into essentially a ticket, and then it can be resold over macroeconomics.
World of crypto, but in the real world, you instantly become a distributor, somebody handling the movie and stuff. And so David was like, oh my God, would you do that? It's your movie. I was like, I think it'd be fun. I said, years ago, 1994, I went up to Sundance begging people to buy my movie. And, there was only like 5, 6 distributors you could go to or something like that. I was like, in this world, like it doesn't limit it to, 6 companies. Anybody who's got game, anybody who's already playing in the field can buy some crypto that's valuable in and of itself, an NFT, but then also have a real world benefit where they can actually make real world money from it. Never mind giving them a fucking t-shirt. Here's a movie, go fucking make money off it and stuff. I was like, that would be amazing. And it would be worth doing for the story alone. Because David was like, well, what if we don't get a lot of bids? I was like, who gives a shit? Like at the end of the day, it's going to be the story. Like the movie will have far more of a profile if we do this than if we just went the traditional route. And I've been going the traditional route for 25 years. I was like, let's roll the dice and see what happens on this one. So he was into it, and we went out and we made our announcement about like, hey, Jay and Silent Bob Crypto Studio opening its doors, and we've got these smoking tokens. We're going to highlight all these artists like Captain Ribman and Nate Gonzalez that we love and stuff. And we've got platinum tokens that if you buy these, you get a crypto cameo in Clerks 3, the movie we're shooting soon. P.S. Later on down the road, we're going to release Kilroy and auction that as an NFT. Naturally, that was the big story that everybody fucking covered, like, because it hadn't been done before and stuff.
I love all of that.
To national attention. And that's why you said I was an expert, but that's me. Long way of correcting you, Michael. I'm not an expert. We did our first drop, and this is the important information everybody wants.
Yes.
The first drop happened 1 month ago, where we introduced 4 different smoking tokens, 4 different colors, and a fifth color that was platinum. The platinum smoking token was an auction item. Each one went for like over 12 grand or something like that. That token also got you a cameo, a crypto cameo in Clerks 3. The next level down, we did open minting. Open minting means like it wasn't a limited number, meaning we just, as many people ordered it, that's how many we were making in the time that the drop happened, which was 1 month. So we had an open minting Kilroy NFT. We had an open minting green Jay and Silent Bob smoking token. We had an open minting Blunt Man and Chronic cover #1 made by Captain Ribman, an artist we work with all the time. I think, and that was it. That covered everything.
Kevin, thank you so much for all you've been able to share with us today. If you could summarize like the biggest learning you've had in like a 15-second soundbite, because I know we gotta move on here. What's the big learning you can share with everyone?
Happily, Michael. This is not the gold mine that everybody thinks it is. You can't just drop a client into this world and be like, they'll sell. Inauthenticity kind of reeks. And as we've seen from last night, cryptocurrency took a big drop. It does that. It goes up, it goes down and whatnot. So if you're sitting there going like, ooh, I want to get stinking rich making money for nothing, you're going to fail. It's not that quite yet. Yeah.
Gary also speaks on this in that the majority of NFT projects, when it doesn't have the value attached to it, then what's the value? You know, how much is it really going to sell for?
You have to go into it wanting to be
and
in
also
space.
We're very, very early on, need I say.
Not just going like, where's the money? You have to actually kind of be into art, because this ain't just about commerce. This is about art at the end of the day. Helps if you know the world of collectibles. If you've ever been a collector yourself, you know, baseball.
So I wonder if VeVe is going to do well on that basis, because, you know, it's not like the CEO and, you know, head of licensing, etc., are huge collectible heads who brought, you know, Pokemon to New Zealand back in '97, if I'm correct. Like, this all just makes so much sense.
Cards, comics, and whatnot, because that's all this is. This is a world of collecting. Think about it as stocks, but, you know, prettier to look at and not just numbers. You're owning a piece of blockchain. That's about it. And that's what you'd be selling if you dive into this marketplace to try to do it. I just like to tell people or lower their expectations, because folks see like the Beeples thing and they're like, you know, millions. Oh my God. And it's not that. With our initial drop, we did very well. We made money, but was it money that a lot of people in this room would be like, I'm going to fall over myself to get at that money? You got to understand, like, I'm still a guy where $2,000 is a lot of money to me. We made definitely mid 6 figures with our first drop, and one could look at that as money for nothing. And as much as, you know, we had to create the art, but it's not like we had to manufacture something and store it in a warehouse. So at the end of the day, it was all upside, all profit. But some people hear figures like $500,000. What happened to that Beeple's money and stuff? If you're going chasing that kind of money, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're like, hey man, that's one more adjunct to my business, in the way that we have a physical space where we sell souvenirs, now we also have a metaverse digital space.
It's really amazing, all this stuff.
And more importantly, Michael, sorry, I'm almost
really
done.
Quickly.
That's stuff to do, but there's a reason
we're at it. Yep.
For me, I jumped into the space because it's very early right now. Like, I missed jumping into YouTube. I was too busy making movies and stuff. Came to YouTube a little late. Here in the NFT marketplace, you are going to be able to put an entire feature onto an NFT before long without burning a lot of energy. And that's the important thing I want to share with your audience. The negative, I know you want to move on, but this is what people came to hear and stuff.
Yep.
There is a drawback. You know, first through the door takes a lot of bullets. And I was like, hey, we're going to sell a movie as an NFT. And the downside was a bunch of folks who are very ecologically minded coming out of the woodwork to tell me that I was killing the planet. Now, I had a leg to stand on because Phantasma Chain does a kind of proof of work solution that doesn't require as much energy. Basically, their NFTs, it's the energy it takes to run one household over the course of a year, whereas Bitcoin takes 500,000 households, the energy of 500,000 households to operate one equation. So I had a leg to stand on to be like, hey, we're on the most environmentally friendly blockchain. So know this going in, kids. If you're going to throw a client into this world, it leaves them very, yes, they could make money, but it leaves them very open for getting publicly attacked by people who don't like NFTs, don't understand NFTs. And believe me, that's a lot of folks out there.
That's
so
great.
that's the best information I can.
And I believe that will change over time. Like, I see this being a common pain point. I genuinely think that there's a way past this. Like, I see this happening a lot, and I get that, when there's criticism like this, obviously it hurts sales as well and all this other stuff. But I think as we do better, as companies, I should say, develop better technology that of course is more and more eco-friendly, as we're seeing VeVe aiming to be the first carbon neutral platform, essentially, going to what's it called, the Ethereum L2 blockchain, what's it called, I can't even remember the name now, but like, all this stuff is important, and it's going to be over time. I think the narrative will be corrected. So yeah,
Give you Michael.
I think it's immutable, correct? I'm tired. It's like 2:30. All this stuff comes out really late. I'm tired.
I know you got to go. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Kevin. If our panelists can turn their cameras on, and Kevin, thank you for your insight and your perspective and your time this morning.
Thanks, Kevin.
You're going to hear from way smarter people than me right now. So enjoy.
Hopefully this was interesting. Hopefully this was helpful. I don't know whether or not Kevin Rose will actually be bringing his stuff to VeVe specifically, but it's definitely interesting to see what might come of this. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.